Good. One of the IWA aim and objective is to cooperate with the trade union and encourage members to become IWA member to become members of the respective trade union of their trade. That means that whichever industry they work, they should join the trade union. And if there is no trade union existing, then they try to organize Indian Work Association. It was quite energetic by branches. The way it was processed to the members at the public meetings held periodically, members were encouraged to join the trade union and explaining the benefits joining the trade union. One is the collective strength of the trade union. Then also trade union provide benefits. I'll give you one example. My first employment at Shorten Brothers, and I, Darshan, Kirti's nephew Jasveer, we started organizing trade union, amalgamated union of foundry and engineering workers. Several Indian members, they were reluctant to join, and some didn't join. Particularly in those days, the thinking of the Indian migrant was that we are here for 4-5 years, earn some good money, go back, buy some land, and then live, continue to live in Punjab. In the case of Shorten Brothers, one accident happened. Man named Lashman Singh, he was knocking the casting out, and he didn't have goggles, and a splinter broke off when he hit with the hammer, and it hit the eye, and the splinter was hot. Cut the long story, he lost his eye. What we did, we asked him to complete the form, which he didn't before, and he said the union fee was 1 shilling 6 pence in those days, that for 9 pence he buy a packet of tea, and with 2 packets it lasts him a month to brew tea, and he didn't want to join. But when he had accident, we explained it to him why we want him to join, that the union will fight his case, make legal representation, engage a solicitor to contest the liability of the employer. He agreed to join, and I did the application form backdated before the accident. It was not since the accident happened, about 3-4 weeks. And took it to the branch, and branch accepted that, didn't tell the branch that accident has happened. And we informed the union for legal aid later. But the form was before the accident, so it was above board. He has his membership card. Union contested his case, and it was 90-60. He received £1,950 as compensation, and which was a lot of money. And the union publicized that. We wrote the leaflet in Punjabi and Urdu and distributed among union distributed in foundries, factories, the success of the case. And that was a big recruitment publicity for the trade union. And in almost all foundries in Black Country, Smathik area, and also in other places, because they advertised it nationally. People joined union, and it was joining by example. That's one. The second, several stories where people were dismissed because of short work. And the union plan that rather than getting short sacks, dismissals, members are prepared to have short time. That in practice took place at Conagry Foundry, Tipton. Trade union members, mostly Indians and Pakistanis, they said to the management, rather than any member being dismissed or employee, we are prepared to go on 4 days a week, 3 days a week. But the white employee, they were not union members, but they were not accepting short-term working. Strike took place, which lasted several weeks, and but in the end, the trade union membership succeeded for short-term working, because with white employees, they could not successfully operate the foundry. So that success story also spread by the trade union all over the country. Another success story, and so these similar and similarly membership took industrial actions after joining the union, like Mansfield houseries, Imperial typewriter in Leicester, Grunwick, Wolf rubber factory in Southall, Burmah coal cost, textile factories in Bradford and Lancashire, And successes came after members took industrial action, and that encouraged the members. One success on the Wolverhampton transport, management was not employing a person with a turban as a conductor or bus driver. And in the post office also, no employment with the person with the turban. Those cases were took up by the union and fought through legal channels and succeeded, and Sikh bus driver, Sikh postman started. So these success stories were a recruitment tool for the trade unions. I like to mention that there was a problem with the trade union as well. That was the trade union rules. For example, when I joined, the rule was, because there was no union at Shorten Brothers, and the rule was I should have a proposer and seconder, but I didn't have a proposer and seconder. Okay, through the Communist Party, I got proposers and seconder. And so IWA, along with the union activists, campaigned to change the rule that there should be anyone who is wishing to join or willing to join the trade union should be able to join the trade union. We succeeded in that. There was another rule in case of imperial typewriter that unless a person is employed for 2 years and has been a member of 2 years for the Transport General Workers Union, he cannot become a shop steward. That was red herring, because immigrant worker coming new, entering into the membership and have to wait for 2 years to become shop stewards. That was discrimination to have white shop stewards. At Burmid, the union in a collective agreement agreed with the employers that a shop steward should be a person who has sufficient command of English. So one is command of English, the second one sufficient command. Who determines that command? We campaigned up to the national conference of the unions, brought the rule change, because these things are changed through the rule change. And rule changed, and we didn't implement sufficient command rule at Burmid Industry. We refused. That was resistance to that rule. And another form of discrimination, which one of the Paul McKinney question, black members were in sufficient numbers in every industry, every field. But when it came to elections at district level or national level, black members not elected, white members elected. Not only in one union, Unison, TNG, NUP, and Teachers Union, NATFE. And in case of NATFE, I stood to become National Executive Committee member. I didn't get elected. So, because the problem was rule change. And the second red herring was that to have black member reserve places, it will be against the Race Relation Act, which was sort of an excuse. We used one that women have reserved places in all trade unions and also on the TUC General Council of 5 members reserve, and others can contest those. But we were not getting through. Then in NATFE, first year we moved the motion to have black members, and the rule was 2/3 majority for the motion. We searched the rule, and Alan Jones, he found a loophole that if you make a main motion to change the rule, it is 2/3 majority. If you move an amendment to the main motion, then it is simple majority. So I and Alan drafted. Alan Jones was a lecturer at Digby Center. We drafted the amendment to a race equality motion. I moved the amendment. The conference was in Bournemouth, and Doreen Cameron, who later became a president, she seconded it from regional London region. So amendment was passed. It became part of the main motion, and when that was put to the vote, it received 2/3 majority. So that was the way to implement that. And in the case of imperial typewriter, it was not the national rule that one can become shop steward after becoming member for 2 years. It was Leicester district by rule on them. So that change was ordered by the National Secretary, Mo 7th. So these are some stories. In case of NATFE, motion was passed, then the president was not implementing it. I talked to Paul. He was at Digby Center at that. And he suggested to move a motion at the General Council of the NATFE, of which I was a member. Motion was passed, and then the president couldn't stop. And in NATFE, rule change that there will be 3 reserved places for men and women, at least one for a woman, black woman, and it could be 3 black women, but definitely not 3 men. That was accepted. So I got elected with the highest vote as a member of the National Executive Committee. I served until 1996 on the National Executive Committee, during which period uh, we made a move to change the TUC rule to have reserved places on the General Council. It was not for motion, and it was 1993 conference of the TUC. TUC General Council, they asked the NATFI delegation to refer back to the General Council. Delegation meeting held. Vote took place. The majority delegation members moved to move the motion not to reference back. I want to mention I was in favor of reference back. So I was in minority with other. And then the issue come because I was deputed to move the motion. And then the chair said, who will move the motion? And Paul McNee was also a member of the delegation. He said, Avtar will move. And she said he was in favor of reference back. And Paul's reply was, Avtar accept majority decision. And to implement majority decision, it was his wording that if you have to walk on coal fire, he will walk through.